All right, we should have everybody getting into the call just for the next second. Everybody's unmuting the mics, guys, and whilst we're back again with yet another episode of Let's Talk, brought to you by the Esports Universe today. Myself, of course, with Quinn, joining us, the royalty of Call of Duty Youth Esports, Newts, Keza, and Detain this time. Joey couldn't make it, sadly, so we got Detain instead. Newts, Keza will be joining us soon, but how you doing, mate? It's good to have you here.
I'm doing good, mate. Thanks for having us on. Appreciate it. Sorry about Kez, we'll be in shortly.
It's all good. Technical issues for Kez, but he'll be joining us in just a couple of minutes. Quinn, co-hosting with me. Quinn, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Happy to have this second episode going.
It's good that we're going to try and get this thing done on a weekly basis. And of course, like we say, Joey Gizblos couldn't make it. This time we have Detain joining us from Cryptic Gaming. Detain, how you doing, mate?
Hello, mate. We're doing good.
It's good to have you here, mate. We obviously, of course, going to have the 3 Bulldog split. This time we get the 50-50, the one first versus second in the youth scene. And like we say, no Kez for the time being, but he will be joining us pretty darn soon. And we're going to run you guys through what the schedule is going to be for tonight. We're going to just keep it brief for what we're going to do. We're going to go over a situation that regarding what I think Viano tweeted the other day, you might have saw, Newts, regarding Esports Hub. In there, maybe the way, yeah, you're laughing because you know what I'm on about. The situation, the way they're going to run their leagues coming up. We're going to be going over that, see what the guys think, what Newts thinks, and Kez's views as well. We're going to be going over both teams' current stance in the EEG League, the only league that's currently taking place for both teams. We're going to keep that brief because it is early in the regular season. Both teams only really played 1 or 2 matches going so far. And after that, we're going to be going over a bit of a history lesson for both organizations. Bulldog, we all know what they're going like in the past, but we're going to go over that. Cryptic as well. They've only been around for about 6 or 7 months within the league, so we're going to be going over what they've done. And of course, a Q&A from you guys. Have sent your questions in using the hashtag Let's Talk COD. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys have thought. You can target who you want the questions for. I know there's one for Keza and Joey, so there's ones for those guys, so you might just see what we're going to do with those. But for the time being, we're just going to kick it right off. Newts, you know exactly what I was talking about. The Esports Hub situation. That is something that Armin brought to me. The way they're going to run it this time. I'll just give you guys, in case you don't know, they're going to be running monthly leagues, low prize pool, each month. Armin had brought this up to me because I don't think Viano was too happy with it. What's your views? Obviously being the owner of Bulldog, the heart and soul of that organization. What's your views on it?
Right, so this is difficult for me because I know Johnny personally before Bulldog, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'll try to be unbiased about it. The thing with Johnny is he's a lovely guy, but he's also a businessman, and he must have seen that. I think it would have upset him that he couldn't do big prize pools.
Yeah.
So I know he wanted to. I know he loves COD. Like his first game was Call of Duty, so I know that he would have wanted to be able to deliver big prize pools and that. And for whatever reason, he wasn't getting as many people signing up to be able to sort of cover those prize pools because he pays his casters and all that as well, I believe. So it needs X amount of money.
Yeah.
And I know he wouldn't have wanted to walk away from COD. So I think what he's trying to do is, because I read it, that there's going to be different types of leagues, though, isn't there? There's not just going to be... Mm-hmm. So for what we normally do, there's only one league every month or whatever. Yeah. But there's also going to be like different ones. So yeah, you could enter it and you could win every week. I think that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to offer something slightly different rather than sort of stagnating the community with so many of the same sort of league. Mm-hmm. Personally, I like the same sort of league because me and my boys do well out of it, you know what I mean? And it's helped to keep us relevant with the under 18s and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And not sort of get away from where we were. So yeah, I'm sort of going around the houses. I'd rather he had what he had before, personally, because I care about my players and I know that's what they excel in. Mm-hmm. But from his business point of view, they must, you know what I mean, it had to make business sense for him. Otherwise, like I said, he is a businessman. He's not going to do it otherwise.
Of course, yeah, and there's positive and negative for it, for both from an ownership side. And guys, I'm well aware that we're going to have to crop Keza in because he is in the call. Keza, welcome back. He is back. We're going to crop him in just a couple seconds.
Alright, watching this on that. Yes, boys.
But there is a positive and negative. There he is. We'll get you in a sec in your little spot we have in the bottom left for you. But
give me a sec.
There is a positive and negative. The fact that from an owner's perspective, like you say, Newts, a businessman. ESL, they have to run their system. Of course, in the past, their prize pool went from, I believe, $2,000 to now £950 or dollars, whatever way the conversion works. It is a business at the end of the day. It is esports business, and there is a positive for him that he's going to get money out of it. But as an org owner, that's extra entry fees for you. So to see you see it...
Keza's gone round his ass. Is that where he went?
To see you from that side and We're going to get to you in a minute, Keza, just while we crop you in. But Detain, from your perspective, of course, Cryptic, yourself, of course, joining that roster. From yourself, it's experience. If you made the experience side of it, maybe I'm not sure what the situation is with Cryptic itself. I don't want to get into that, but whether it's self-funding or team funding, from your POV, how do you see the CS sub situation? Is it more practice or is it maybe more of an inconvenience for you guys?
What the like
Each
lower
league a month.
prize pool leagues? I mean,
Yeah.
I see more negatives than positives just because like it's less build up. There's more leagues. Obviously, the prize pool I don't think's that big of a deal because if we were all playing it for money, there are much more like consistent ways of getting money than it should just be for a bit of fun, really. But like, I feel like the leagues, like the length of them should be a bit longer, just so they can have some build up and more like not storyline to it because it's not that deep, but like just more depth to it, I guess.
Yeah, and it kind of adds to that sort of situation. Now we had at one point this whole situation of Dom Unity, Val, and EG. Now we've got these more sort of OCL, Vendetta. Now we've got ESUB separating from Dom, and like you say, it's maybe a positive and a negative. And I'll be interested to see what you think, Keza, because of course yourself, everyone knows the history of Bulldog. Everyone knows that everything they've entered in the last year they've won. Not that Detain's probably grinding his teeth right now, but it's a fact. It's a fact. The fact that everything they enter, they win. Yeah, it's just one of them ones you have to accept. And Keza, from your POV, if you guys enter, you'll probably win it just because it just tends to be what happens. What's your view on it, man? More leagues every month, lower prize pools, less hype, but what's your view on it, man?
I only play these lot. The leagues I just play because there's nothing else to do, literally, because like S&D's like dead. It's awful. And then I just play these because there's more, well, not really fun, but there's something to do instead of fucking playing for like money, I guess.
It's understandable. I mean, like I said, from a player perspective, it's probably more experience, and it's something I wanted to tie in as well. The fact of you guys, I've seen maybe some tweets in the past that you guys maybe don't scrim a lot of the top, like getting top scrims is difficult. So maybe bringing this league in more leagues a month gives you guys a lot more top teams. Because obviously, of course, everyone knows you guys are the echelon, the top two in the youth scene. So getting scrims against maybe the lower half of the teams isn't less common in these leagues. You fight against more of the OBNs, the Zealouses, maybe the teams that cause you more problems. So overall, you wouldn't mind it?
Well, when we do scrim, we rather play like Jed's team, obviously, or we rather play I don't know. We do sometimes play like good 18+ teams. Like we played Monaco a few times.
Yeah.
And then that's about it, really. They're like the good ones. I don't really play any of the other 18+ players. I just play Fortnite and then come on play these leagues. That's it.
It's understandable. I mean, it's interesting to see from perspective. Everyone's like, because this is the main key of this thing is, right, guys. You guys know these guys as Keza, as the team players that have been successful in the youth scene, just essentially successful in COD in general. And this is kind of one where we want to just get you guys to maybe know them a bit more. Maybe just know them as Kian, know them as Jed. We want to get you guys to maybe just get a bit more familiar with them. And Keza's insight that he only plays the leagues for fun because he's got nothing else to do.
He's not even lying, right? Because when Cryptic got their team, it's the first time probably, and this isn't being arrogant, that we was thought, you know what, this could be a bit of a challenge here, you know what I mean? And I was messaging him after the first time, you know, when they took a game off of somewhere it was, and I messaged him and I said, look, you need to pull your socks up and that. He's like, look, don't worry, mate. When it matters, we're not going to lose. And I said, you've not been practicing. And he's like, I know, but we don't need to. And I'm not lying. They generally, I mean, it isn't what I'd have, but it seems to work for him. Like, when he's saying that he spends all the time playing other stuff, they pretty much do. And it's not like I have with any other team, and it's a bit different managing them because they are unders, but they seem to get away with it. So I just sort of, he's not lying. Like, I just let him get on with it.
And it's like you say, I mean, to be at the top for that so long, and the fact that you only play it in your spare time shows a testament to your guys as well. The fact that you don't need to practice, and you say you only played really when Cryptic got a bit scary. And in the past, we've seen you guys come up in the grand final. It's mainly against Johnny's OBN or Fusion's OBN, and now with Fusion's, I think now I'm not even going to comment on that. Fusion's being on Cryptic, whether it's been officially confirmed. But like you said, it's the first time we said at the start of the season, because I predicted Bulldog coming third at EEG, and you know that, and that was a tough one to make. That was the first time I thought, right, Bulldog are beatable. They won't finish top. And to be fair, I eat my words, and I'm happy to eat my words. I'm happy to do that because now for those of you guys that don't know, they've now won back-to-back championships in World War II. 8 on the bounce.
It's 9.
Is it 9?
Yeah, we won 9 altogether, I think it is. Let me have a look on our Twitter. I think it's 9 altogether or something like that.
9 altogether.
But if I was to show you our Twitter, mine in his chat in Twitter, sorry, it's literally me saying that I love him, no homo, and him saying, "Don't worry, I just don't lose," and that's literally like after conversations, isn't it?
It's good to see. But Quinn, from yourself, of course, you've seen majority of the leagues with me. Personally, this season, this is just based off what we haven't done. We haven't been involved with the ES Hub a lot this game, but from an outsider's perspective, because we get that, we get to have the outsider's perspective on this. What's your kind of view on it? Do you like? Because I'm not sure how much COD you might be watching outside of it, but as casters, maybe not helping out in the ES Hub, it's good for us to see maybe as a fan of COD as well. What's your view? Maybe just a more exposure for the youth scene, more leagues, more competitiveness.
I feel like with the ES Hub, if they're having like the different leagues every month, like they'll be having like the variants in the S&D. I think, like personally, having like an S&D league would be good practice because not many teams actually want to scrim S&D. They'll just prefer to scrim the respawn game modes. So in that sort of respect, I think it'll be good for practicing S&D. Like it's another option to have other than just wages. But I do feel like cutting prize pool, more leagues, sort of like a double-edged sword, really.
It can
it's
be
more practice, but then it's less money.
There we go.
Like
what I don't get
incentive.
You know, like say the Val.
Yeah.
It's a 3K. It's a 3K overall, and
yeah.
The split between first and second is literally like £100.
I saw that.
Stupid. I don't really get it.
And it was actually. And of course there was that prize as well for the first play. Oh, we got everyone lined up. There we go, Stream. We got everyone lined up for you. And of course there was that prize for playing first in the premium pool, I believe. And you guys, both of you, made a pretty good challenge inside of that. I mean, it's something this year that prize pools have been hampered. I mean, we went from last year having back-to-back championships. Now this year, how many cancellations has there been? How many prize pool cuts have there been? Going off of recently, Dom's prize pool was cut on Saturday, and being involved with Dom, I'm well aware that you're participating, Keza. And
I don't even know.
As far as I know, Bulldog have a spot. As far as I know, Bulldog have a spot.
Does all this stuff, not me.
As far as I know, you guys have a spot. So, a lot of prize pool cuts this year, and maybe more of these small little leagues, maybe with smaller prize pools, can maybe build up the hype. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to make a more competitive youth scene for everybody to have fun in. Leagues with lots of high team leagues with cutter prize pools maybe isn't that fun, because we've seen that Dom's prize pool has dropped. Their membership dropped. ES Hub, they had to split their prize pool in half. I believe Dom originally started out at 2,500, and we're now at 500. Val, they've been consistently 3,000 for both leagues, and that brings me to something that you guys don't have to answer, but me and Quinn aren't going to answer it. I was going to say what's your preference, but what's been your favourite league in terms of
Val.
Being a part of? I was going to think you'd probably say Val, in terms of structure, in terms of what way it plays.
The only reason I picked Val because I've played really good in that. That's literally the only reason.
Yeah.
Literally, that's literally. All the leagues are the same, really. It's just that I had a better price pool by like, what, £150? That's about it.
Yeah. And same question to you, Katrina, as well.
Yeah, I can't remember.
No, it's all good, Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I'd rather have all these 18+ players play all the leagues, but obviously, like, they can't because of the 2Ks and. Well, most of the playoffs are on a 2K day, which is quite annoying. So. Yeah,
that's one thing as well.
If the 18+ players did well, the good good ones, I think we'd probably like lose to them. So I'd rather have that than fucking have 18+ players who don't really play.
Because I'll do an example, because we do get 18+ players coming into the scene as well. We saw Rudes expire Orange last year. We have the Brainstorm teams this year that I think Newts will smile at. The fact that maybe some people will smile at, they were predicted to come first.
Who?
Brainstorm.
I don't know, mate. Someone else that's predicted to come above.
I don't think you remember. The Brainstorm 18+ team were predicted to come.
Oh, Lewis Sim and that.
Yeah, they were predicted to come first, and they came top 24.
The thing is, they're a good side, right? To be fair, Lewis is my boy. I love him to bits, right?
Yeah,
so
COD, man.
He is and they're a good side, you know what I mean? But it's just different as well, right? The 18+ scene, to some degree, sort of play COD a little bit differently. It's different for these two. So these two play COD sort of how it's meant to be played, like Cryptic's team and our team.
Yeah.
But some of the under 18s play it differently, and although it's not the correct way, sometimes if we're not used to playing against it, it can catch you out. And you can maybe try to take some teams too lightly. And I think that's probably what happened to Lewis's team, because they're a good side. Like, I've got my boys back.
They are definitely a good side. I mean, the
Shit,
squad.
I need your rips, man.
Yeah, the squad, of course.
I mean, I was gonna say,
Go on.
all these like over 18 teams that are good, they come in for the occasional like tourney or league or whatever, and then they'll speak to either me or Alex or someone and be like, I'm not gonna bait anyone out or give any names yet, but like oh, this player or this person on this team after they play against a certain person, like what are they doing? They have no idea how to play the game and stuff, and it's literally, you can tell the two different ways over 18s and under 18s play the game. It's just conflicting styles. It works against some teams, and other teams you'll get beat. It's a mess.
I'm not. Don't get me wrong. Like, we all play like a bit of a spastics. Like we all, my team and so does play like spastics most of the time. We still somehow win. But then,
something like that. Yeah. Funnily
like,
enough, I do.
If some of the 18+ players like do lose to under 18s, like I'm just like thinking how like if you think you're that good, you can't lose to under 18s, literally.
And of course, the 10. Same question goes to you, mate. Your favorite league? In terms of structure, in terms of the schedule of matches, anything you want. What is your preferred league to play in?
It's gonna have to be Val, innit? They just seem to have it like thought out, really. They're the ones that had they said they don't decrease their prize pool, etc., didn't they? That's them.
Yeah, that was.
It's like, they're just like the safest option to go with. To be honest, it's just Val.
I mean, it's high risk, high reward, isn't it? And this is probably targeted more towards you, Newts, that Val's prize pool entry is the highest. I mean, I believe it was 30, correct me if I'm wrong, it was 30 something, I'm not even sure. But as an owner, you're probably thinking that my team's entering into this league. They're probably going to place in the top 3 because that's what they've done every single time I've seen them. And from yourself, being involved, of course, as maybe the liaison between your squad and between the league owners, who'd be your preference to maybe put your team into? Sort of in terms of basically more of yourself off of ownership, because obviously you, of course, being in the backroom staff, you maybe get more of a view, more towards the view that me and Quinn do, maybe dealing with the owners a lot more. So you don't have to, but who would you probably say is your preferred one to be involved with a lot more?
I'm glad you said about the entry fees, because I see sometimes people tweet at that, I don't know, that the under 18 scene ain't worth it because of the entry fees and that for the leagues and that all the time, and you end up wasting money. You don't get a lot of money back because one of these two is going to basically take the majority of the prize pools. The thing is, right, £35 or whatever it is nothing, right? See, I don't think it's a lot. Like,
Don't be a lot for
what
some.
it is. So we'll get, I mean, obviously we do one of them, but our analytics, right, it boosts about 60,000 interactions from when we do, like, you know, when you used to do all the everything, all the stats and that.
Yeah.
Right, so for 30 quid or whatever it is, that really isn't that bad an investment. I understand other teams ain't going to do as well with that, but
No.
I just see a lot of people say the under 18 scene ain't worth it, and I don't think that's true. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some idiots in it, but there is some idiots in the over 18s. You know what I mean? That I can't stand. And if you treat your players well, then they'll treat you with a bit of respect. And part of org ownership should be to sort of help them develop. You know what I mean? And I get some of the orgs are run by people the same age, that maybe a little bit different, but I think it's a worthwhile thing. You know what I mean? And as for working with the things, I really don't have that much interaction. I leave it down to the lads. There's always a sort of captain or a runner from the lads, and we don't take none of the money back. Yeah. Right. So whatever they win,
there's a fact for the community. For those of you that were curious,
none of the money back. It's all split between them. So we'll pay the entry fees and all that, but they've earned it. You know what I mean? And we get enough out of it anyway, so they deserve to take it all. So they deal with them. I speak every now and then, like we still chat to some of the owners, but as long as these boys are happy, I don't care what leagues they're in. You know what I mean?
That's what we like about having maybe the ownership side, sort of the back room, and then of course the player side, because you see that. For those of you in the community who don't know, people were thinking, right, what percentage does Bulldog take back of their winnings? That is something that maybe I didn't know personally, that they give all to the players. Because at the end of the day, it's the players that stay up late nights. I know some players in the past have complained about late night finishes 11, 12 in the morning. And we understand that because we're upcasting your games late night in the morning. We understand that you're up for the grind. You have to commit a weekend to sitting and playing Call of Duty. But it is high risk, high reward in the end, because...
I'd like to point out I'm also up until the early hours in the morning until they win it, because I'm on that doing the tweets.
It is the high risk, high reward.
This is what I don't understand as well, right? If you're spending £30 for an entry fee, right, you see some org saying that we're not going to make no money back from this. and all stuff like that. It's 30 quid. Like, if you're an org and you can't afford to spend £30 once every 2 months, maybe esports isn't the thing for you. That's what I'm saying. I ain't a dig at no one. It's just £30 really isn't a lot. You know what I mean?
Potentially, and you've got it. There you go. Everyone, me and Quinn can't really give our view on this in terms of our favorite, because obviously we work with basically most of them, so we can't really be biased in terms of that department. It's good to see the view of the players that they all consider Val to be. Of course, me and Quinn know Val personally. The fact that they're sound guys, Chris Lewis over there, they're sound guys. They run a really solid league, back-to-back 3K prize pools. Not a dig at any of the league. It's just stating the way they run their leagues. They're really good guys to handle with. They're always on time with their updates and stuff. They're solid guys to be around, and I can understand why you'd all pick Val, to be honest, because I'm not going to say my favorite, but they are really responsive. They run their league the right way. The divisions as well, that's a huge thing, because I've seen maybe in the past some players that were in your guys' poll say that why are we matching up against what I've seen in the past, people saying quote unquote shitters in the regular division, like in the regular sort of Kez is smiling, but in that sort of 36 to 42 to 96 whatever bracket, you don't want to be facing those many teams. It's at the end of the day, it's good practice for you guys. And in Val, I'm not really surprised that you said that, because of course those of you in the stream that don't know, Bulldog topped the Val poll and got that lovely little £100 as well. Cryptic came third, and 11 and 9, 11 and 8 for both squads. They both performed pretty well in the league, and it doesn't surprise me that they've all said Val. But moving on from Val though, another league, EEG, something that just kicked off very recently. Cryptic, I think I've played the majority of maps you've played. Datane, you played only 2 matches so far, and Keza, you've only played one. Yeah.
TD.
And versus TD, yeah. What was the score?
3-0.
Doesn't surprise me, to be honest. Doesn't really surprise me. And of course, the thing we've got neutral ground here now is Datane. You also beat Team Descend the other night.
Yes, we did.
You also 3-1 Team Descend, which was a welcoming bonus for them as the roster that definitely has a lot of personality. In the form of you probably highlight Wazo on that squad, key personality. He's always got something to say in a tweet, and he's just a funny guy. But
He's just a laggy guy, isn't he?
he just is. He just
Just lags everywhere.
I've heard him. I don't know if you see the tweet he put out the other day about his connection. It seems pretty darn bad. He played a league match last night, and his connection looked awful. Whether that was his host or not, but of course, both these squads, like we say, they're in the premium pool. They're going to be seeing them in a few weeks, I believe, the weekend of the end of April for playoffs. You guys will both be there. It's just a question of seeding. Heading into both playoffs, seeding doesn't really matter, I think, for you guys, because you're going to finish in the top 2 to 3, maybe 3/4 if you've had a bad weekend. But for the time being, like we say, Cryptic, they topped the premium pool 2-0. They beat Team Singularity. Yeah, small, yeah. Singularity and Descent, of course, Bulldog beating Team Descent as well. And where do you guys maybe sit in terms of how you're feeling so far in this league? Of course, like we say, you're both undefeated so far. We'll see when you play each other, because I know that's going to throw up a hell of a match. But how are you feeling so far, Keza? This league feels solid. It feels
Not bad.
everything just feels consistent.
Same old, isn't it?
Same old, yeah.
The same.
End every regular season feeling confident all the way. Is like we say, Bulldog as an organization. People think that okay, they've won 9 championships, 8 championships, otherwise back to back. EG's been OBN's playground. And that is something that it's good to have you both here. The fact that you're neither of you, of course, a member of OBN, but it's been their playground. Because anyone in the stream that doesn't notice, Vanquish took Championship Series 1. OBN took the European Cup. And they're kind of fighting it for 3rd place. So heading into Season 2, it's a lot to see whether, like we say, Cryptic can maybe topple the Bulldog. Like you said, Newt's Bulldog, this is probably their biggest challenge since they've had back when they faced, probably say, OBN Dom Season 4. That was their biggest challenge. That roster was solid. It nearly toppled Bulldog. And just pointing out on that, Datane, I know we're going on about EEG. You guys probably feel pretty solid beating Team Descent 3-1. You've still got, I believe, 10 matches left to go now?
Yeah.
Quite a few left to go, yeah. So how are you feeling so far?
Pretty good, really. We are playing with Fusions for the league
yes.
at least. And that's, I don't know. We play TD, performed pretty well against them. I think they're a decent team, to be honest. I think I'd put them 3rd, honestly.
Yeah.
Definitely put them above OBN after what they how they beat them in whatever that was the other day. I can't remember what. It was the losers bracket of the yeah, it was
OCL. Yeah.
3-0, I'm pretty sure it was. And they looked pretty good against OBN, so should be a decent, more competitive than maybe the last season.
Yeah, and that's something we said even maybe not just for season 2, something we said coming into World War 2 that we've seen. It kind of kick-started heading at Dom season 4 that it's a lot more competitive this year. You've seen Bulldog drop a series. They're in losers bracket. Cryptic, they're fighting at the top seeds. I mean, at the end of Dom season 4, Cryptic as an organization were top 6. Now they're consistently second. They didn't compete in ES Hub. Now they're pretty much up there all the time. And I understand why you guys didn't compete in ES Hub. But Quinn, me and you casted that match, Cryptic TD the other night. It was a 3-1. And this is something I wanted to raise with the team as well. Fusions did not have the best of series, did he?
Yeah, no, he did not.
Wait, when was that?
Against
the other
TD.
night. Tuesday night, I believe.
Yeah, honestly, I think, pretty sure that was the very first time we actually played with him. And
Yeah.
he's admitted to us, like, yesterday, the day before, he's having, like, pacing issues because he's never played with... He's gone from playing with the likes of Johnny, you know, to us, which... Alright, let's be honest, it's a bit of an upgrade. But anyway. He
Moving on
said
swiftly.
he's having pacing issues, playing with people who, like,
Yeah.
play more confident and aggressive, but he's getting there. He'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
It was a good series to cast. And Quinn, like we say, we both casted that. What was your view of maybe how Fusions, in your opinion, of course, we both went into great detail on the fact that Fusions was maybe running a gun that he wasn't comfortable with. He was running the STG on the Ardennes. I believe he was running the STG on Hardpoint London Docks Game 4. And in the end, he has to pull out a PP, Quinn. So, from what you've seen of Fusions, do you think maybe in this Cryptic roster, I would ask the team, but he'd probably say that he hopes that he'll fit into it. I think he will long term. But what's your view, Quinn? Maybe, do you think is this a roster that Fusions can thrive in? Obviously, now he's gone up from top 3 to top 2, a position he's been in the past. But what's your view? Maybe does Fusions maybe become, I don't want to say if he can find his feet, one of the best players, if not the best, on that roster?
I mean, looking at the caliber of players that have got on that team now, is going to be. I think he's gonna, once he gets his foot in and gets used to playing, then I think he'll just be fine with that roster. Like, obviously, we've seen what he can do in past leagues, in past games.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen, like, how he can change a game instantly. Like, if he gets on a streak, like, there's very few people who can stop him.
That's the thing though with Fusions. I think in the OBN team he was by far their best player.
Yeah.
And like he has like a role to literally go off to win them games at some point. Whereas I feel like everyone on our current team can do that as and when.
Alex will.
So like
Alex,
he'll have to
Mm-hmm.
he'll have to take like a back seat from always being like, you know, the main man, like having to actually work with team and trying to maybe mature a bit as a player, not like as a personality, but like
No.
you have to learn there are people who can do what he can do as well now.
Yeah.
Just
Because, of course, it is a roster that's had quite a few changes. I mean, the roster coming into World War II is
Yeah.
vastly different than the one that was now. I mean, you can list the players that were previously on that roster. Henry, we're not going to go into any detail regarding that. Heading into Val.
Where is Henry?
and he's focusing on GCSEs.
He was on OBN the other
Bollocks.
night. He was on OBN the other night.
Yeah, but I don't think they're playing with him though.
Yeah, that
Beacon.
according to Johnny, they're LF1 tonight for their game
I don't
versus
even think
Plasma.
OBM want to play anymore, honestly. They don't get any more.
Yeah,
I think they're going to play NBA for the rest of the year.
playing for full for this point really. aren't
Yeah.
Playing for TO at the moment.
But just having, what was it, the game that we casted down when App was POing for him.
Yes.
He was.
He
He
went
just
off.
looked like the best player on that team.
He did look
Even
like
though it's a
he was the
PO,
best
he
player on the
was
team at that
probably the best
stage.
player.
He was. I think he had the best stats across all hard points. It'd be nearly 40 kills in one of them. It's games like that where you just get a PU and he all of a sudden decides to turn up. And yeah, that Cryptic roster. Is it you? I keep getting used to mixed up the 10. Sorry about this, but is it you or Disarray that joined the roster midway? Like they left and joined back. It was Disarray, wasn't it?
Yeah, right.
No, it was
Was it?
Alex. I think.
Was
No,
it?
yeah, Gizmo and Disarray left to play with.
Yes.
Originally, it was Johnny and
Yes.
Fusions, I think, and then they picked
Yeah.
up Alex, and then I joined a little bit later after FCO.
Yeah, that's who it was.
I rejoined.
Ah, yeah, so it was you then, yeah. So you joined, and
Yeah.
of course Henry's previously been on the squad. They now are sitting with a squad of, like you say, Johnny was formerly on the squad as well. They've got it's an organization that had quite a lot of high caliber. It's a roster that was very different because at the start of the year, it was pretty much half of Barrage
Mhm.
put together with, I believe, Johnny and the fourth player has gone out of my head, 'cause it was way back in November that this actually happened, but it got to a stage where all of Barrage at one point, you know this, that were at some point under Cryptic, which is a weird thing to think, that Barrage were at one point entering the U scene side by side with Cryptic. They take their whole roster, they're now under Cryptic. Of course now, it basically is that whole roster of yourself, Disarray, Alex, and now Fusions, who, like we say, can go off at times. And something that I want to raise with you as well, Newt, it's the fact that an organisation like Bulldog have maybe kept their, it's something we'll go deeper into later, is the fact that they've kept the roster the same, essentially. I mean, they've only had really 2 major changes this year, which is Killicious coming in, and then, of course, now another change. But it's something that I want to highlight with you. What is it's probably the main factor why Bulldog maybe been consistent for so long. Like, why is it so important for you to keep a roster that consistent and no roster changes, morale high throughout the whole of the season?
I don't like, to be honest, with any of my teams, I don't like changing the rosters unless I have to, because I think you get better over time. But I think, it's about sounding arrogant, I think with us it's a bit different because we've normally got the better players. Who's there to change them for? Like, if that makes sense, you know what I mean? We've been winning, so why would we make like changes all the time anyway? If the team's not winning, the first reaction of everyone normally is, let's make a change. But if you're going to be winning all the time, there's no point in really making that change, especially as the lads actually get on quite well as well. Like, if you, a couple of times when I've been talking to them and they've maybe not been playing as well, when I'm messaging, I'll say, what's going on? And they're like, oh, we're just having a laugh and a joke in the, like, while they're playing, you know what I mean? Because they actually get on that well together.
Yeah.
So I think changing it would just be stupid, especially if, like I said, a winning team. Like, you don't change a winning team.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Cammy, towards the end of Infinite Warfare and end of an era for Bulldog, of course, he departs. He goes 18+.
He's smashing it.
Not doing too bad now, is he, now? In the 18+ scene, and of course, Keza.
This year we've got, so Bid's played for us for a while, Swift. And Cammy.
Cammy, yeah.
That have gone this year. And then next year, I imagine all 4 of these lads are going to do well, you know what I mean? Well, the ones, they will all do well when they turn 18, like.
James, the 20-year-old.
Yeah.
I love James.
He just had a bad year this year. He had to come back.
And I'll probably leave this point maybe till we discuss later on the organisation itself, but the mantle sort of went from Cammy, because Genesis was kind of the hidden gem in the team. Yourself, Keza, was more known as being a mad slayer on the team. Then you've got Viano, who can also slay. I've seen him step up a lot inside of World War II as well. Cammy was kind of that main guy. Everyone thought Bulldog, they thought Cammy. Now they think you. The mantle's been passed on to you to maybe pick up the slack, or maybe just the main player of the roster. How does that feel for you? The fact that you're now probably the poster boy of Bulldog Youth.
Don't like it.
Yeah.
I literally don't like it.
No?
No, I hate it. Because, like, I feel bad because, like, these MVPs and stuff, like, I always get voted for first, even though I play shit most of the time. Except for the Power one, I'll say that one. But any other one, I didn't play that great. So, I feel bad for, like, JC, James, and Joey, because in that OCL thing, I got voted for first anyway, and then I didn't play great anyway. So, JC was, like, DMing I don't know who it is, the founder of the OCL thing, like, telling me to give it to James, like Genesis instead.
I believe it's Mistrix.
I did not deserve that one bit. It's quick shit.
I mean, like we say, both these teams did perform pretty well in the OCL. I should get the stats right now. There's a stat that I wanted to show you guys, but I'll leave it till later. Quinn knows exactly the one I'm talking about, but I'll leave it till later. But the stats from the OCL, I believe I have them here. You guys as an organisation went 18-3 in terms of map count. 85% of your maps you tend to win. It's kind of a consistent stat. You guys, 15-18 is mostly the maps you guys tend to take. You kind of drop. You don't really get a lot of 3-2s. You guys tend to get a lot of 3-0s, 3-1s. Cryptic's kind of the same. The fact that you guys, it's very rare that you're on opposite or the same side of the bracket, which is the benefit of finishing maybe top 2 in regular season. And like we say, I'll highlight EEG Season 1. Bulldog finished first, Cryptic finished second, and to pinpoint a map where maybe, I wonder if, I'll probably bring this up, it's, the next topic will probably focus heavy on this, but I'll get a reference to Tame with this. How did you feel, maybe the fact that you pushed Bulldog down to the losers bracket, they 3-0 OBN, they come back up, I don't think it was a reverse sweep in the first best of 5 at Val, but it was a 3-2. How did that feel for you to Tame? This is Bulldog's first chance in a year to lose a championship. You're in prime position, you lose 2 best of 5s. How are you guys feeling after that?
Was that Val?
I mean,
Yes, Val.
personally, I didn't take it too bad because
Yeah.
I've suffered worse defeats. I like to think I've been around for a little while.
Mhm.
Like back when, you know, under 18s could go to events.
Yeah.
I've lost last map to like Epsilon in the winners bracket final, and that's pretty like, I don't want to say heartbreaking, but like demoralizing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, it's just like a watered down version of that. Really, it's not. You don't want to like feel that way, but it's nothing.
It's just dead. That's the only thing we have to do at the moment.
Yeah.
It's very dead.
Fair enough, but
On
Like I
to
said,
next year.
on to next year, indeed. And now, this is a topic that I said we were going to keep maybe a few things. I've labelled it legacy in terms of now we've got 10 here as well. We can maybe expand a little bit more. The past, the present, and the future of both these organisations. Bulldog, we're going to throw some stats. 8 championships, majors, back-to-back. Dom season 3-4, Val season 6-7, Winter Championship, the 3-peat in World War II. Newts, you've taken this org. It's gone from being maybe, I'm not aware of what it was before the Winter Championship, whether it, because I've had people tell me that they didn't win every championship before, because OBN took a few, and I think maybe someone said that Zealous took a few as well. I'm not aware before my time, but since I've came here, it's looked like you guys have came from what everyone starts small to now this massive organization in the youth scene, probably the youth tier, probably the royal family of the youth scene almost. And it's interesting to get your view on it, Newts, the fact that the organization is enjoying this much success, and it's something you mentioned earlier, the exposure the org gets as well.
I think people like. I suppose it's the difference between owners that have been around for a little while and those that ain't, and they don't like. It helps to put things in perspective, and with anything we do, there's like, so as an owner, everything has a return of investment, and if the return of investment is worthwhile, then it's something that's worth investing in. If it's not, then it isn't. You always allow a bit of fudge factor as well. So when we first took the youth team, I wasn't going to have a youth team because we had one and it was a right pain in the arse, and I couldn't be bothered with it anymore. So I said, right, I'm not doing under 18s anymore. And then I know Bids and that, and they sort of had an issue with another org messing them about, and they was like, look, I know what you're like. Can we bring the youth team to Bulldog? I think it was Bids and Swift and that. And I was like, yeah. And it was solely on because I liked them. I do a lot of things. I'll pick up teams sometimes if I like the people, not necessarily knowing where it was going to lead. So I done it because I didn't agree with how they got treated, and I took them under Bulldog. And one thing just led to another, you know what I mean? And it continued on. Any teams that we had that did lose wasn't this team. I don't think in this iteration.
No.
Like I said, it might have been the other little youth team we had, and it was an headache. So yeah, we just kept them, and I'm glad I did. And to be honest, when this team splits, we probably won't have a youth team again for a little while. Just because, and it isn't that I don't like the scene, it's just I think what these have done has been really good, and if these continue to go the rest of the year unbeaten, then I think that should be left like that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to bring another team in to tarnish the reputation of what these lads have done. Because although people see it as the youth team and there may not be a lot of great people out there, to go as long as they've gone, consistently unbeaten, to not fall out of each other and split up, you know what I mean, to have the maturity to keep doing it, even when it's not always fun for them necessarily.
No.
But they still rock up and do it just out of respect for them.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, that will take a little bit of a step back just so there isn't any bleed over and anyone sort of saying, Bulldog's finally lost, when in reality,
they've stepped
on Bulldog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not the same one sort of thing.
It's all about reputation as well, because like you say, Bulldog, in my time, they've won championship after championship. They're looking like they can't be stopped for the time being, and it's all about reputation. Heading into the future, the fact that if this org, if they go undefeated in the World War II season, that's going to be my first full season seeing them, it's something that people say, yes, like you say, it's Bulldogs lost the map, they've dropped off, they're just bad without that roster they used to have. You want to end on a high. You don't want to have people calling you the team that was good and then dropped off.
Well, you know, it's like you get these people every year that want to put the boys down, you know what I mean, and trying to say that we're going to finish third and stuff like that. But but the reality is, I've got faith in them. And the thing is, right, we laugh and joke about it, and it isn't. Yeah. It's competitive confidence. It's not arrogance, and we're messing around. And honestly, if you know the boys, they're all pretty sound about it. Right, considering, and like I said, we have a laugh and a joke just because it is how it is. But we generally want the same thing, and they wish that there was better teams for them to play, and that isn't putting anyone else down. Like, it's frustrating for them, and we sort of take piss about it, but it's more out of respect for what they do. You know what I mean? And like I said, Cryptic
Yeah.
as well. It isn't just that these boys. If anyone is going to stop us, I think it may be them. You know what I mean? Because they have got good players. And like I said, when their team got announced, I was literally like, right, who are we going to have? And it's the first time I've ever probably put any sort of pressure on the team to find out what's going on, because I normally trust them to do their thing. Just because I thought, you know what, I know these players from the past, for when they used to be able to play at events, so I know how good they can be. And like I said, it was the first time we've really had anything to be worried about. Like, so we may not go the whole year unbeaten. You know what I mean? It's crazy to think we will, but if we did, and these go to over 18s or whatever, then like I said, the youth thing will probably be put to sleep.
And Quint,
Like I just want to say
Better come to
something
you as well,
quickly
yeah.
to
that's helpful.
Newts. Like if they do go undefeated throughout World War II season, I know it's a little bit different levels, but would you say like there's sort of like the complexity EG of the youth scene? There's like that sort of legacy?
Well, for the people, it's a bit difficult because the under 18 scene gets rubbished a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, not rubbished a little bit, but people sort of
Tarnished.
look down their nose, and I get it because, like I said, not all the players are great, but not all the players are great in the over 18 scene neither. I'm telling you. And I honestly think if these two sides were able to compete, you know what I mean, I think they'd do all right. You know what I mean, bearing in mind that they don't properly practice or anything like that. You know what I mean. If they were to actually go in, put the graft in, and actually really try, then I think they could do well. You know what I mean, and it'd be interesting to see. But it'd be you can't really compare it to stuff like that because they were playing against the best players in the world. You know what I mean. And again, nothing against the under 18s. This is the first year we've really had a team that was much of a challenge. But still, I still think it's anyone that goes in any sport or anything like that goes 2 years at the big riding without losing in anything that really matters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well done to them.
Yeah. I mean, that loss at Val that brought you guys down the losers bracket, that was the first time since January or February. Yeah, January, 2017 that Bulldog had actually been in the losers bracket. Since
we only
OBN.
done it because we just wanted an extra game. That's what it was. We were sightseeing. We just wondered what it was like.
You want the stats. Just want the extra stat of being the first team to win from the losers bracket.
We were talking, and we was like, look, should we spice it up a little bit? You know what I mean?
They certainly did that. Of course, those of you that well know that Bulldog went on and took that championship at the.
Shitting myself.
Watching it, I was thinking, there's no way this is doing this. They bring it to 3-2. They take the second best of 5, 3-0, and Cryptic, they sort of grit their teeth a little bit about that. But we'll highlight just for the moment just how big I said Bulldog went from small. Everyone starts small tonight, a massive organisation. I'll just highlight how well they've actually done since their beginning to now be competing at the top as well, 18 plus as well. You're well aware of this, Newts. EGO Brussels, first in Gears of War, to name a few. I-59, first in Call of Duty 2016. CDBL Birmingham, top 16. CDBL Birmingham ran by the professionals. You saw the likes of Epsilon. I don't think Splice competed at Birmingham, did they?
I think they were there, yeah, everyone.
Did they?
Were they not there?
Was that the weekend Splice took the weekend off?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think it might have been. Because I think they've been at like Anaheim or something the week before.
Yeah.
So top 16. Sheffield top 16. Epicland 23. Second in CSGO. It's an organization that they're expanding outside of Call of Duty as well. I mean, some of these are in League of Legends, a third at I-59, a first in CSGO. It's obviously, of course, we can only talk about the Call of Duty aspect because that's what we know best. But outside of this, it's an organization that's starting to gain a lot of stature. I mean, 2 back-to-back top 16 finishes in professional events attended by a lot of professional teams through the open bracket. So it's testament to Bulldog. It really is testament. And
It's the thing that I think matters. It's what a lot of, I mean, I don't know if other all goers, right, but some people get caught up by how many followers you got and all stuff like that. Right, that to me is nice, but it's more important results. You know what I mean? If I'd have, and it ain't even about winning all the time. Like I said, that top 16 probably means more to me than when we won it, because we won it with amateur teams there. That top 16, I think we were might have been the highest non-salaried team or players that hadn't been on a salary. You know what I mean? I don't know, something like that. And that meant a lot. And then to do it again proves that we deserve to be in the top 16 teams in Europe. You know what I mean? And for a team that isn't salarying their players and stuff like that isn't a bad thing. But yeah, some always get caught up with all other stuff, you know what I mean? And that's fine if that's their direction.
Yeah.
But I just want to win everything. You know what I mean? And that's
Respect.
it. And I like players that want to win everything. And if I'd have been in a Nord, we could have had 50,000 followers and everything like that. If I'd have never won an event or placed well at an event that was worthwhile, then I'd have thought I'd have failed. You know what I mean? But that's just my personal view.
Yeah.
I think that's what you've got to be aiming at. You've got to be aiming at developing your players, treating your players well. I don't think you'll find many people that have been here that say we don't try to look after them. You know what I mean? If they message me and they've got anything, I try to do my best to sort that out. You know what I mean? My players are my main focus, and they always have been. And it's why recently I brought other people on board. We've got a general manager now, which I never really had, to look at the other aspects of the org, because an org is bigger than just the results.
Oh, of course.
For me, it's always about results. Like, I hate losing.
The
That's why I love
motivation
him.
is always something
I
that the motivation and the drive to win is something that drives a lot of organizations. And we could highlight Cryptics in the past, but this isn't maybe an egotistical thing to say, but Cryptic haven't been in the youth leagues a lot. Those of you might remember, Cryptic only appeared in Dom Season 4. People thought, who is this Cryptic Gaming appearing out of nowhere? Of course, an organization that previously existed, they just didn't compete in the youth scene, which is something that we've said quite a few times this year. And we go into the history of that organization's placing obviously to 10th, playing in World War II, but the roster that they finished World War II, or IW with, was a roster that, I believe, off the top of my head, Billy Busted was in it, and it's because it was so long, I believe it was, October 2017, it's gone out of my head now, but the previous placements of that org, top 6 was their best thing they could come up with. They tied with Voltex that tournament, they come into World War II, they now have your squad, of course, on board to 10, and now 3 leagues so far, 2 second places in OCL as well, where you place second place. It's not too shabby. And looking in the future, and of course the present league going on in EG, how far can this team go? Can this, in your opinion, and try and be as... I know obviously, of course, you're going to give me the view of a player that's on the roster. I'd expect you to give me the view that, yes, we're going to beat Bulldog, but
Yeah.
in your belief, in your honest view of all your teammates, can Bulldog be toppled? And will it...
Yeah.
I think it'd be by you. That's just my opinion.
Definitely. I mean, if we really knuckled down, we could. It's hard to say because, like, when we lose to Bulldog, I look back on the games and I don't know how we lose to. There's nothing like that sticks out. Like, oh, they did this and we didn't. It's just like usually it's just fundamental things that we mess up. Partly because we've played half these league games with like 2 different pickups. We've had countless fourths, but like if we stick with this team and we actually knuckle down, a little later down the line. I'd say we could beat them. Otherwise, I wouldn't be competing.
The only people that are gonna like win these leagues are just mine and Jazz team. That's it. Literally it.
Essentially.
I don't think anyone will be anyone.
I don't think anyone else is either that committed either. Like they don't have what it takes in like on a skill basis. I don't think, and then I don't think they're that driven to even try. Most under 18s, because I think they just know how it ends. And they don't really have any intention of stopping it.
They know their place.
I don't know how to say it without sounding like a bit of a mug about it, but that's just how it is, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is all, of course, based off of what happens in the past. There's really only been you guys so far. I mean, OBN, albeit Nexus placed 3rd and OBN placed 2nd at ESL, but you guys didn't compete. You guys, of course, like, we'll just go over the situation. What we know, of course, on the outside is that Henry didn't play on the roster that weekend. They went LF1, or I think with the PU that weekend. Understandably, I can get it that they didn't want to play with an inadequate 4th in terms of the level of players. Maybe you didn't want to play with a person that wasn't on the level of your teammates, which essentially is that top 2 bracket. You didn't want to play maybe a PU that you weren't familiar with, change of style, who you thought maybe wasn't of your quality. That's understandable, because that's maybe putting the org's place in as well. The fact that they've paid money for a league, it's better maybe to not. It's like you said before, it's tarnish reputation. Albeit that was towards the end of a COD. This is more during the league. You don't want people saying, "Oh, Cryptic Gaming's been top 32 because they used this player." That tarnishes the reputation of that player, the squad, and then it has a knock-on effect. People say, "Oh, without Henry or something, this roster's crap. Would they go in the next playoffs? I'll just kill Henry. They'll be fine. You'll win the series."
There's 2 sides to it, really.
Yeah.
There's the you want to be respectful to the organization that you're representing the org that's got the league going on. And then there's the, you're better than just playing for the sake of it and for the respect of the people involved.
Yeah.
Which I think is more important. Like missing out one league or one playoffs just to get better results for the next one instead of just taking part for the sake of it and for the,
Yeah, and
that's how it goes.
It's not like something that's hadn't happened before. I mean, I remember back in the day, towards the end of, well, let's say back in the day, back towards the end of IW, there was 2 playoffs that Bulldog didn't compete in, and we say that there is really no one else that is competing on the level of these 2 teams. Of course, your team now as well. Is that OBN and Vanquish took 2 championships. OBN took the European Cup. Vanquish took Championship Series 1. Bulldog didn't compete in the playoffs. They were in the regular season, but they didn't compete in the playoffs. So that's one of those ones where it's like, oh, Bulldog have dropped off, Cryptic have dropped off because they don't compete. Playing back-to-back-to-back championships every other week. Not everyone's free on a weekend. From Players POV, not everyone can just maybe say they've got a job, they're working that weekend, or they've got schoolwork to do, whatever. Not everyone can take that off, but like we say, OBN's only really push has been those 2 championships, of course, under different organizations and similar rosters, but heading into the rest of World War II, Quinn, of course, we see it from the outside. We get the advantageous position of seeing these teams.
Yeah.
Maybe we only see maybe the social media side of it, what goes on. We try and stay up to it as much as we can, but from the rest of World War II, I know we've got Black Ops 4 October. We've got maybe Champs is August. We've maybe got about, I don't know if any leagues are running in September. I don't know that far ahead, but you probably say we've got about 3 to 4, 5 months left, if that.
Yeah.
So heading into the rest of the season, do you see Bulldog Cryptic being the teams to beat? Can OBN make enough of a push and topple Cryptic out of second, which is a daunting task in itself? I don't think they'll beat you, Keza, but I think they can maybe take the 10 out of second every other weekend. But what's your view, Quinn? Do you think that these are going to be the next 2 teams to beat, or is anybody... It's just the way it is. OBN won't beat you. They'll beat the 10, though. They won't beat you.
I mean,
Sorry, but that's just... I'm just saying, they...
The thing is, this must kill him. Like, I don't... Do you remember when they used to play, like, when under 18s could play? Look, this is the crazy thing, like, they're talking about, because the boys on that team can play, you know what I mean? They're good people. Like, it's a bit... I know we don't lose, right? And like
it's just one of those ones, like, they're easier to be beaten.
And
than
I like
you.
OBN, and I like their owner. I really like him as well. But
yeah,
it's crazy to be saying this. These boys are good players, you know what I mean? They really are good players. Like, they're just, if they can be beat, we can be beat. That's all. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems crazy to hear people saying that to him, because he's good and he was good in the past.
True.
You know what I mean? He'll be a pro. You know what I mean? Like, and it just seems crazy, mate.
Yeah.
Like,
no offense, of course, based off
sorry
of the
for jumping
team.
in.
No, it's alright. No offense, Dan. It's just maybe not sort of. It's not aimed at your guys' ability to play or OBN's inability to be bullied. It's just maybe based off of you guys. It's the fact that you guys are. It's just based more in the past that you guys have never been beaten other than Cryptic. They're the first team to beat you. The OBN roster that beat you is a different one. It's more or less saying that you guys, at least for the time being, don't look like you're going to lose a match. And I mean, the only teams I think to beat your regular season in Val, I believe, one was Cryptic, and I think the other one I don't think was OBN. I can't even remember who the other one was, because it only was the other 2. But yeah, like I said, I mean, it's something, Quinn. Can OBN make that big enough of a step? I mean, if they can even be, that's what I said, can they topple Cryptic? Because that's a daunting task, is same. Like, they're not easy. They're not an easy team to just go out and 3-0. So, is this going to be what we're going to be seeing for the next 4 or 5 months? These 2 teams back to back fighting each other?
I really just can't see them. I can't see OBN beating Bulldog or Cryptic, really. I just can't see it happening. Like, I feel like...
Yeah.
I remember Team Descent as well. OBN.
True.
Yeah.
They're 4th now. That's TD a 3rd.
I do think Descend's just... I honestly think OBN going from IW being a top 2 team, I think they're top 4 team now, really. I do think Descend.
We've got people writing in the chat as well that OBN will never will come close to beating me. It's something important that said. That's from Hallie.
That's from Hallie.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
He said it's important.
Of course it's Alex.
You'll have a lot to say.
But yeah, it's more just, I would highlight Team Descend, but I was just sort of focusing maybe sort of who's won championships in the past. If Team Descend, they've got it in them, because they've got a 2nd place, they've got a 3rd place, they beat Nexus overall record placement of top 4, they've done that, I believe, because OBN placed top 8 at Val, and that was a bit of a weekend for them. Albeit they did come up against a Creddy squad that were on a bit of a roll until they faced IE, you 2. essentially, I believe, was it yours? Was it Cryptic that? Yeah.
I didn't play them.
Who was
I
it?
think we
Creddy?
played them.
I
You
think it
yeah, because
was-
they were limited by someone, but it wasn't OBN.
Yeah,
It was our Nexus or it was you. So
it was us.
It
I
was
remember
you,
playing
yeah.
them. I didn't really. Yeah, it was kind of.
Freddy Esports.
yeah.
Yeah, that's,
So I would bring Team
That
Descend
there
into the
was-
fold.
I was gonna say there was that stat that you wanted to bring up.
Oh yeah, that one as well. Yeah, speaking of playoffs, but yeah, I'll come to that in a second. Actually, it's just that I would highlight Team Descend, and I probably my top 3-4 is kind of interchanging for
Yeah.
because roster changes happen week in week out. Fusion was on OBN a week ago. Now he's on Cryptic. Team Descend had a fourth. They don't have a fourth. We're in a roster mania situation where the top 3, top 4 will ever be changing that sort of top 2 to 6 bubble, but.
yeah.
Yeah, it was. For those in the stream, they're going to kick off something. That was no offense to any of the guys on Cryptic. That was just saying that these guys are so. That OBN can have a good weekend. I mean, any team can have a good weekend and top what we saw. Runs, mate. 9 Kings, top 32 to 4th. Creddy. There is teams that can have those bad weekends. Like, not everyone's going to be perfect every single weekend unless you're Bulldog, it seems. Which comes to that stat, actually. But, yeah. Do you want to know your map count in every playoff you've won, Keza? Other than Val Season 6? I know Newt will love this. He
No.
loves my stats.
No, I don't.
Newt
Don't
loves
wanna
them. You want to know them?
know. No.
'Cause you guys have won 8 championships. I only have the map counts for 7 because Val Season 6 didn't record them. And actually, I only have 6 of them because he won a championship, didn't actually have the bracket. Do you want to guess how many maps you've taken en route to winning 6 out of the 8 champ? No? 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 I'll give you. Well, you're 80%. You win 80% of
me.
your maps. 102 to 24.
So?
It's alright, is it?
How did you drop so many?
I know. I know, you've fallen off. You used to win 15 to 3, now
That
it's
should-
just 24 to 4.
Should be 126 and 0.
He's slacking, mate.
They are slacking a little bit, but 102 to 24 across essentially. That's not including Val Season 6, which you won. EG won a championship, which you won, though, because those don't have map counts for them. But 102 map wins to 24. You're just a playoff team.
Indeed.
He's
That's
looking
what
all
you
smug
say.
about it.
We
No.
get beat
It's
in the
too
league.
much, man. It's too much.
If we ever got beat in the league, you go, yeah, but they don't matter, do they? We don't lose in
No,
the playoffs.
regular
that's
season
what
doesn't
matters.
matter.
Yeah.
And of course, over towards Cryptic, I'm pretty sad. I'm sad now because I didn't get time for the team coming on that I would have actually had a look at Cryptic because I believe that their map count is pretty strong since they actually came into it.
Yeah.
I mean, coming 6th, second, nothing is gonna pretty much put you at a high map count as well. But one final point before we move on to the final section is that something you mentioned about consistency notes. I believe the stat is that you and Zealous are the longest standing rosters. No roster has consistently been a team of 4 throughout both games. You guys have had the same 3 in and out, with Cammy and Killish, of course, departing in and out, Gizmo. And then Zealous, of course, with that same 3 of Luke, Jaden, those 3. And who's their third again?
Demand?
Quinn, help me out. Yes, Demand, because I remember he left and he joined back. I remember that. And of course, they had Drags going in and out, and now consistency helps. And if both these rosters, I think, I'll leave it with you, Quinn, that if both these rosters compete, of course, with Gizmo, joins Bulldog, wins a championship, Cryptic, they now have Fusion's a solid 4th, probably best player in OBN. How do you see these rosters sticking, maybe if they stick together, as you said before, that these probably aren't going to be the top 2 for the rest of the year, but I don't really see these rosters changing at all the rest of the season, Quinn. If they stick together, do you really see these changing at all?
I just really don't see the teams changing. Like I said before with Cryptic, if Fusions can get, if it can get his, just get his feet going, just, get used to playing with you guys, I really
Yeah.
feel like he's just one of those players who's, only really, I feel like Bulldog are really the only people who can, stop him in his tracks once he starts going.
And it's
And
saying,
of course the
yeah.
other players on Cryptic.
I mean,
Uh,
yeah, they're good, all right. Yeah, they're decent. They're decent, of course. We've said before behind closed doors, Quinn. Maybe we've said to Kez as well that the rosters kind of look a bit more balanced now in terms of you've now got Bulldog, a team that has a dominant sub and a dominant AR. Cryptic now have 2 dominant subs, and sort of that fine balance between a bit of an AR as well, kind of mixed in with that as well. And we said before that if Cryptic can get Fusions firing with an STG as well as a sub, how far can that organization go in terms of toppling the giants of Bulldog? And essentially, if Gizmos can keep consistently performing with an AR, and if Keza can keep slaying with the numbers that he keeps dropping every single playoff that they play, it's kind of a toss-up, because UST will probably be the most dominant teams over the next few months, but it's just a question of how many championships you'll take and how many you'll take. It's a tough one, but the final part, which shall be an interesting thing. Now we got a question, Kez, I believe you got a couple as well. One was targeted towards Joey, so that'll be
Right.
yeah, that'll be, one was given to Joey, so it'll be a tough one. I'll probably just ask you this individually, but of course, like we say, it's a bit for you guys to ask us maybe what you want to see from both these teams. You guys obviously replied with quite a lot of questions with the using, of course, the hashtag Let's Talk COD. They asked maybe Keza, Newts, myself, Quinn, the questions that you guys want to see as well. And let me see if I could just get those, because I believe they tweeted them at you, Kez, I believe, in one big long section. I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've got them here in sort of just one big long section. Here they are, right. We had a couple. Right. First one. Why are most youth teams so far behind the top? I believe we've sort of covered this before, but I'll probably go to Titane just because you gave probably the most in-depth view of it. The fact that what you said about most teams maybe not having the motivation or maybe not having the willingness to grind. But
like,
why do you think?
I feel like I don't know.
I think
like
it's just down to individual skill.
Oi.
I'm just saying,
I got a good point. I got a good point to make it. I got a good point. I feel like this Bulldog team, they're an anomaly in what I'm about to say, but like they're all very skilled individually, whereas players on my team, Alex, me, and even Disarray, like we've been to events before. We've we played with like the top players, etc. So we kind of came through and like matured that way. And then other under 18 players haven't really had that opportunity. So like they're kind of like their growth is like stunted, kind of. They're not like they have a low skill ceiling of like where they can reach on their own without guidance of maybe other players and stuff. That's where Bulldog players come in. It's just like they're just different from every other under 18 player. And the drive as well. Like I don't really know many of these under 18 players, so I don't know how they are emotionally and how they like handle losses and try to improve as teams, but I can't imagine they're very motivated.
I can understand that. And Kez, you kind of got, of course, you had a point to make as well. Most of the team is giving his, that you got a question kind of similar. The fact that how the skill gap is so large individually between top teams and other teams. Game time was maybe a factor in there. That was targeted towards you and Joey, maybe just your POV.
I don't know, because I don't actually know. Like it's just individual like skill. Like it's just nothing to do. I mean, game time it could have been on the other games, but this game, like, I don't think it is. It's just I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes it just comes down to individual skill. Like that's the raw base of everything. Yeah.
Like it's nothing to do with anything else, but just your talent. That's the shit.
Yeah. And sticking with you, there was another question we got asked from the same person. Was that your future COD plans, with whether it be within Call of Duty outside, but I believe this is just targeted. Yeah, it's within Call of Duty itself.
Well, I turn 18 in May 10th. It's a bit annoying because the season 3 for the National League, it starts a day after my birthday, so May 11th. But then I'm pretty sure the roster locks before May 10th, so I don't know if I'll be able to get in. And then S4 will be fucking impossible to get into because everyone will have more points than everyone, so I have no points going into it. So I don't know what I'll do for this year. Just gotta see what happens.
It's
I'm not even tweeted
understandable.
out yet, so
No, it's understandable.
tweet out after like Birmingham or something.
And the final one that I think we haven't covered yet, I'll ask this maybe how much you're aware of this news. Probably go to you first, maybe because you may not be so much involved with this. It's sort of, I think this is purposely meant to say, will Black Ops 3 revive COD? I don't know whether they're meant to say Black Ops 4 or they actually mean the current sort of situation with players going over to BO4, the introduction of the BO4 league or the BO3 leagues. We touched on it earlier, Nate, when we mentioned the ESHub leagues. They've now got leagues heading into Black Ops 3, as do Vendetta and all that. what in your opinion does this happen? Does it
Mate,
revive
the only
COD?
thing, the only thing that can revive COD is if they change the shit system. As it is at the minute, right? You've asked the right person at this. Everyone sit down, go and get a coffee if you want. I might be some time. Right. So the way it is now, it's right. If you look at right, so you said the placements that my over 18s team got, for example, right? If you go and have a look at the people seeded above us now for the next event because of the way this pro point system, right, it's laughable. We smashed these teams. I know it's only scrims and that, like half of them, and there's teams play. It's going to be a shock to the system for some of these people when they go to the event. You know what I mean? Because they're not in the comfort of their bedroom and stuff like that, and it's just crazy. And it makes it so you've got really good people that have just quit now. So there's, say, the tier of people that AMs that could go pro. Like there's a group there, and they play because they want this to be their living. Right, after a little bit, when they realise they can't, they stop playing. So you lose a few people that are good and should be in the scene. We used to have events where there were so many people there with the under 18s and that, and now, like, unless it's a CWO event, you'd probably get 30 teams at most turn up because of how it is the split. Because they have 2Ks of a weekend, you can't have other LAN events, because if the players are at these other LAN events, they'll lose points. They won't gain any points for the 2K. Not that my over 18 team seems to gain any points for fucking 2K anyway. But even if we did, we wouldn't risk going to a LAN event, you know what I mean? So it's killing the community and choking the community having the way it is. I believe they should get rid of PP so people can just scrim, and they should have 2Ks every other week or 5Ks or something like that, and get the seeding points from that. And more LAN events, because that's really where it matters.
Yeah.
Because the amount of teams, or not the amount, but some players are totally different at home to what they are at the event. And we had a period where we was doing online stuff, and we'd go over to America, and we'd play them and that, and the teams were getting embarrassed because they were really good in their bedroom, and if you played them online, they was doing really fine. But when it comes to a LAN event, it's a different thing, and I strongly believe that LAN should be out, everything's decided, and it just builds a buzz. Players as well, like, so I used to watch, I told you I'll go on, so I used to watch COD last quite a bit because we was always at events, so I was chilling out with the twins, Reedy and all that, you know what I mean, and like other people, like Sunny B, like loads of different people, and you're interacting, so I actually cared how they done. I still do care, but I'd watch every single event, regardless of where it was, whenever they were playing. This year, I've probably watched one event, because you don't have the same sort of bond, you know what I mean? I still message them and wish them luck. But it's not the same, and it kills viewership and everything. Like, LAN events are so important. They're the heart and soul of the community. And the only way that COD will be saved is if they bring back more LAN events, in my opinion, and get rid of this shitty 3P system.
Yeah, because it's like, we spoke on about last week when we had Nova on, because he had a pretty strong view on it as well, and it's something that maybe a lot of org owners, it's good that we have you guys on here, that you give us the view of a team that's maybe not a player. You're not a caster, you're on the outside, you run from the very top, so you guys get the main view of the LAN events, like you say, as a fan, both as an owner. We went from Sheffield, Birmingham, London, back then in IW, to now having just Birmingham.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, mate.
NA gets more events, we get less?
It costs, do you know what, it costs about $3,000, well, about $2.5 to $3,000 to send the team, right? And do you know what else it is? It's embarrassing that people like Sunny B and that can't get an org to send them over there. And do you know what? It isn't even the org's fault, because to get a $3,000 return of investment, as I said earlier, right? You'd need to get in pools, right? Definitely. And if you can't guarantee a team's going to get there, you're looking at it and you're like, unless you're literally wiping your ass with £50 notes, it's just fucking mental. You know what I mean? You can't afford to just throw away $3,000 so some lads can go and play abroad. And it's because of this. We need more events here. Like, I'm all for a world league and all that. Do you know what else happens as well? I told you, mate. Do you know the problem as well? When you send the best teams over to play in America and live there for X amount of time, it restricts the pool of teams to scrim here, right? So you end up without the best teams here. So the teams underneath are not learning from them or not playing them. So then they start to lose interest a bit, and it just totally dilutes everything, and it just doesn't work. Like, whoever, they need to get me working there. I'll do it for nothing. I earn enough from the army. I'll work for them for free and just like be the common sense thing. They can have these stupid ideas, and then it'll come across, and I'll be like that Cole Pilkington. When it comes to me and I go, this is a really good idea, I'll just be like, bullshit. And that's it, you know what I mean?
It's all good. It's
I just care about the community so much, and I hate seeing fucking shit stuff kill it. You know what I mean? I really do.
It's understandable. It's understandable. And Quinn, you'll be attending Birmingham, and from your perspective, as a fan, as a caster and a fan, and we're all fans of Call of Duty itself. Why we spend so much time, whether it be casting the game, working on the game, in terms of like maybe just a stat building perspective, or playing the game as well, as a competitive and a public player perspective as well. That we want to see as many EU events as possible. NA got Anaheim, Seattle, Dallas, NOLA, Atlanta, Champs, CS1 Stage 2. We get Birmingham. No ESWC, no Gfinity London, no Sheffield. We get one event, and as a fan, Quinn, that's going to Birmingham, of course, you want to be going to as much events as possible, because you want to stay up to date with as much as professional as possible, and you, obviously, like you said, you're going to Birmingham, but you want to be going to more. But you can't, because EU's basically, Maven said on, I believe, Trading Shots, that EU's so far behind COD in turn. Yeah.
Oh, whatever. He's fucking his airline so far behind, isn't it?
He said that EU's so far behind NA. We are behind in terms of events. We get 1. They get about 6,
9,
whatever, 7, 8, whatever it is, including Champs. I mean, it's not right.
No. I mean, it's called the COD World League.
Yeah, but they have World Series of Baseball as well, and they're the only ones that enter that. It's the only way they can win things.
Yeah, it's like, it's just called the World League, so it has to include the whole world, not just NA.
Yeah.
Like, fair enough, they have like top EU teams, top NA teams, but one APAC team, and there's no real, there's literally, it's called the world, but there's only 3 regions covered.
Yeah.
It just doesn't add up.
Yeah. And I guess the point where, albeit the national circuit was introduced, and it introduces more of the sort of South American teams. The fact that South American teams, maybe sort of teams you would maybe get to see, maybe sort of the Scandinavians, maybe even more further towards APAC, maybe sort of inland, maybe Russian teams as well. We've seen them participate in other esports. We haven't really seen many in COD. That we have to wait this long for a national circuit for teams from that region to compete. And still, you mentioned Kez as well, the national circuit, it's not that easy to get into. So then these teams have got one option, and not everybody's going to be able to get into it. So, and we speak about...
started on the National League.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. Yeah, it feels like COD's just taking a lot of
Well,
flack.
how
this
can
year.
the under-18s not be allowed to play, but some of those people that are in those National Leagues be allowed to play? I'll give you... Oh, mate. Like, if you say... Oh...
I'm a CPU team.
I was gonna say, you can name names if you want to.
It ain't even
We've
about
had
that.
it.
I don't even know half of them. And I pride myself on knowing people. Like, you can mention kids in the under-18s, and I'll be like, oh, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. Because I've watched, when our boys are playing, I watch that. I need to know. We don't have the budget of some of the bigger rules, but I want to compete against some of the pro ones. So what I need to do is to know how people play and their personalities, to see if it mixes, and that's what we try to do here. Right, so I need, and some of these, I ain't even got a Scooby who they are. I don't even think their parents know who they are. And like, they're out there, but then we've got under-18s in the Cryptic team and the Bulldog team that would literally destroy them, and they can't play because their mum and dad had sex 2 years too late. Like, it's ridiculous.
True.
Like,
Facts, man.
right? And then like, they go on about the Americans being better, right? When you consider the amount of people in America, consider the amount of people in the UK, right? But we can literally take them and spank them, right? So percentage-wise, we're much better in COD than they are. They've just got more opportunities. Everything's handed to them on the plate, and there's a lot more of them to be better. But you know what I mean? The UK just produces really, really good COD players, considering it all. You know what I mean? To be able to find 4 to go out there in a country, you know what I mean? There's lakes in America that's bigger than the UK, right? I've flown across some of them, and we can still get consistently teams that go out there. They have everything on them, and then they sit there going, "Oh, European teams ain't good enough," because we're fighting with one hand tied behind our back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they get big and hard about it. Fucking mongs.
And
It's true though, mate. Like, have a word with yourself.
I'm so glad we got you on, Newt. I'm so glad.
It's like me going into a primary school, picking a kid out, slapping him around the face and saying, "Why can't you defend yourself?" You know what I mean? It's because he's underdeveloped, he's young, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, don't wait.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go to the toilet quickly, but 1 minute.
Yeah, no problem.
I've just pissed myself. Comes with getting old, doesn't it?
Oh my god. But anyway, whilst we've got the tune here, a question we had sent in last week. We said, guys, that we'd probably get some of your questions in last week when we ran out of time, but Detain. We had this question sent in from Rubsicles. He said, hashtag Let's Talk COD. Thoughts on foreigners in the foreigners on UK teams / foreigners teams in the leagues.
What, like the national circuits?
The youth.
Oh, okay.
Just having like, what is it, G-Lab addicts?
G-Lab,
Yeah, I think that's good
Idemina.
because, like, there's the under 18 players who are on the level of the likes of us and Bulldog, and then there are under 18 French players and Spanish players like the G-Lab team who are also pretty good. Like last year they had the Frenchies, who a couple of them are on Supremacy now, like Yuzul, Hydra, and that. They were all like really good players last year. They just sit there in their own community, play these FCOs. So like in a way, you know, they're branching out to what is a wider audience and a wider community. I don't see any negatives to it.
No negatives whatsoever, and like we say, we see sometimes many players, and it comes down to maybe connection. Some players maybe have the issue. The players have got good quality, like it's not maybe when teams play out, it's more sort of disrespect the players. It's sort of saying, we're playing against Germans or Spanish or the Scandinavians or the French players that we're all involved in the community. We've all played competitive COD at some point. We know that they just have great connection, and they can at times be frustrating to play against, but they are quality teams at the end of the day. Like you say, they're increasing the reach of the league, so they're not based UK and Ireland and the rest of the Spain and the territory of that. We're reaching out further, and they're increasing the quality as well. The fact that we've got a higher quality of teams, and
also them under 18 like foreign teams. I'm not in touch with the French scene or whatever, but
no.
I'm almost sure they don't have anything like to develop the under 18s in their country, or like any like companies doing anything for them. So like they're just doing what they can really, and the people that complain about French connection, German connection, are probably the ones who can't beat them as it is, and they're like, oh well, we don't want them here because, you know, I don't know. It's only a good thing because they're just doing what they can. Imagine if the under 18s here had nothing to play for, no vow, nothing. You'd look elsewhere, wouldn't you? Really?
You'd never progress. I mean,
exactly.
It's the advantage of the under 18 scene to me. Of course, it sets up. There's a level that you can go from. You can go under 18. You can go 18 plus, and into the professional level, of course, and it works both ways. Casters, players have did it. Courage did it. Players in the youth scene have did it. And there has to be some sort of balance. America's got it, we've got it, but like you say, there is other areas in Europe that don't have that balance. Like we don't see many French teams in the leagues. We see a lot of Spanish. G-Lab, a perfect example of that. We see quite a few Germans as well, and surpassed the previous well-known German team within the scene. French is an area that we don't really see touched all that often, and it's something that I'd love to see a lot more of, because at the end of the day, it does increase, like I said, it does increase the competition. Because the further we go, the more people we get to see. As casters, we love, me and Quinn always say, we always like to see New York participate in the leagues. How many have you seen this season? About Quinn, about 7 probably new ones this year. We haven't seen before. Like For the Win's a perfect example of that. For the Win and Ozone participating for the first time, albeit they're not an org that nobody's unfamiliar with. It's just the fact that they haven't competed before, and that, in the end of the day, we're trying to make our scene better. And at the end of the day, it's something we're all going to be a part of, at least for some part of our lives. I mean, I've been in it. Everyone's been in the under 18 scene for a while. Detain's been in it. We've all been in it. Obviously, Newt's, you know, from the outside perspective.
I was never under 18, mate. I literally was born at 20. I've just got older.
Because with an org owner that has a youth team participating in the leagues, it's good for you to see maybe your team playing more competitive. Because you spoke earlier that Cryptic is always the team that's playing you the closest, but it's always good to see more teams from outside of Europe, like Glab or G-Lab, like the side of Unsurpassed. Albeit they might not be competing at your level, but it's good to see playing them every other week, getting a taste for potentially what the players could be facing as they move up to 18 plus, because you're not always going to play teams in the UK.
Anything that anything that raises the profile of esports, and this isn't even the under 18, just esports in general. Like anything that raises the profile for the right reasons, I'm happy with. You know what I mean? And I'm all for.
Yeah.
Because that's what we have to do. You know what I mean? We can't sort of sit here and just concentrate. So I can't just concentrate on Bulldog. Well, I do, but like, I've also got to think of the other things in that. And there's times when don't get me wrong, right? If say a team from Spain and that beat these, right, and then I'd be fucking fuming, and I might go, it was good connection, right, at first, and that'd just be because I'm a salty loser, you know what I mean? But then I'd also think, you know what? At the end of the day, well done to them. Everyone loses at some point, and congratulations, you know what I mean? And it'd be good. Imagine if these ever do get beaten. Everyone's going to be talking about it, you know what I mean? There's people out there that genuinely, I feel, don't like them. Don't know the kids, but just don't like them because they keep winning. And they're like, oh, it isn't fair. You shouldn't be allowed to win it. Why shouldn't they be allowed to win it? They're under 18, you know what I mean? Like,
good point.
Sort your life out, get better. You can't strengthen the weak by weakening the strong, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if bringing foreign teams comes in, raises the profile of the under 18 scene, gets more people involved, gets more viewership, can increase prize pools, so Keza, so Bulldog and fucking Cryptic, the lads can earn some more money, then I'm all for it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and if only Brody was here, because I believe he got a tweet or a reply once, I think you've seen it, Quinn, from a player who I cannot remember his name, and if I knew it, I wouldn't mention it anyway. He received a tweet I remember seeing, Bulldog should be blacklisted from the leagues.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I don't know if Kez or anything saw it, but Bulldog should be blacklisted. That's what they said. Bulldog should be blacklisted from the. It's when you're up the top, people try to knock you down, and that has to be expected.
Yeah.
And that just, I don't know if you've seen the tweet before. Of course, you said you've seen it, Quinn, but
I've seen it.
yeah. So
he thought they was over 18s as well, didn't he? He didn't realise that they were under 18s and stuff like that. Like when it come out, and it just people. I mean, I need to read the tweet before I tweet. I either cock it up because I'm blind and can't see on my phone and miss a letter out, or I've had too much to drink and I get annoyed. And you might not tell, I'm quite volatile sometimes, and quite free to speak my mind. And sometimes I tweet stuff and I think, "What are you doing, you fucking idiot?" I read it back in the morning, proper embarrassed, like. But other people should as well, you know what I mean? These, although they don't put in as much time, they used to put in loads of time. And instead of knocking people that do well, we should fucking support people that do well, you know what I mean? Because that's the way it should be. You do well, well done. Pat on the back, you know what I mean?
And the final two, they are quite lengthy ones. One of them is from a personal... One of them was a person... This is from a coach himself.
One sec, I'm just going to tie a knot in it.
The coach said, this is from, you know him, Quinn, Void's coach of Divide Black, formerly. He said, is it worth coaching in the youth community? We'll try and keep this brief, just because the last one's a bit lengthy. Is it worth coaching in the youth community to gain experience, or should it be jumping straight into coaching 18-plus teams? I don't know who to start. Anyone want to give an answer? Because I don't know where to start with this.
I have no idea about coaching, man.
It depends. Like, if you're just starting off coaching and you go into a youth team, youth players can be pretty hard to deal with, pretty difficult to work with. Some not very mature, others quite stubborn. It comes hand in hand, I suppose. And if you want to be a coach and you want that to be your thing, I think even in the over 18 scene, coaching is kind of like put down, and they're trying to, not let coaches be a thing. But if you want it to be your like future, I don't think starting in the youth scene is a good place, because if you're not working with the right people, it might put you off of working with other people in the future, because they can be quite stubborn, youth players. But if you think you can take on the task of actually helping them improve, then by all means, go for it.
And we're not gonna go into the details, because I don't even know the details as to why it happened, but Voids was coach of Divide Black for a good couple of weeks, and of course he brings the Divide Black roster into season 1 of EG with him. He's now departed from that roster, so maybe we're just kind of speculating why he left that roster, but maybe it could be down to what you said, Attain, the fact that it could be stubborn youth players. I don't know the reason.
Possibly.
I don't want to be told the reason, because that's private between the team and the coach, but that, like you said, it could possibly be stubborn of the youth teams. Maybe that bit of not understanding between a youth player, because I believe there is an 18-plus player in that team, so he has got that sort of connection. But like you said, just don't go straight into 18-plus. If that's the one you want to be in, you don't go straight into youth.
I'd say so, because
wasting your time, you're in there, ain't you?
Really.
Fair enough.
Also, under 18 players, I know a few of them don't like change, and if you've been in a team for a while with like people, like most of these under 18 teams, if not all of them, are based on friendships, right? And like if you're in a team with like your mates, you get someone in who's quite new, like a coach. It can have like a tense kind of atmosphere in the call or wherever you are, and some people don't like change, and it might tip people over.
Yeah. And that brings us to his second question, the final one we're going to show today. We'll try and keep it brief, even though it is a lengthy question. But what 3 things do you think, or each of you think, needs to happen to make Black Ops 4 a success from a competitive standpoint? And of course, all of us I'd like to think, Quinn, that we'll be casting in Black Ops 4. I'd like to think that Keza and Tane will still be playing. I'd like to think Newts will still be owning an organisation that, whether it be a Team 18 Plus or whether it be a Team Youth, will be involved in Black Ops 4 at some point. So we'll all kind of have a view on it. Releases October, earlier than expected. But what 3 things? We're going to kick it off with you, Keza. What 3 things do you think Black Ops 4? If you don't know 3, if you don't have 3 off the top of your head, you don't have to give 3. But what do you think it needs to be successful from a competitive standpoint?
From a competitive, well, I don't know. Like, you just need to. Well, obviously they need good maps for the new game because everyone just despises maps. I don't know why. It's just one of them. Everyone, like, say AW, everyone liked the 2 gun meta, say Ballet SM. That's how that's how everyone liked it, and then that's one of them maybe. Third one. I don't know. This ain't competitive. Like, say pubs wise, like pubs need to be active, like very active, like say Black Ops 2, like that. Like, say, Scum said streaks about like you need good streaks.
Make it playable. Make pubs playable.
Yeah.
More fun, more lively.
Because that was something that Black Ops Infinite Warfare took a slack for. That many players play competitive Infinite Warfare. Myself, I played pubs for quite a bit, and halfway through the year, I thought this is boring as fuck. I don't want to play it for the rest of the year. I ended up not playing the game and venturing into other things. So, from my perspective, I'll just probably give mine that one thing I've had a major issue with World War II, and I know some of the players have as well. It's the meta changes, and it's something you said as well, Keza, that the PPSH has probably remained untouched out of any of the weapons. Subs have been up and down. The MP40, the Thompson, the FG, the BAR, the M1. There's way too many. Even the snipers they're even going into now. Nerfing the car was nerfed. Sorry, the car, I believe the Springfield was nerfed, and then 2 weeks or 3 weeks later they were both nerfed again. So I think if it's to be a success, there needs to be a lot less changes than that. Keep it every other month. Don't make it twice in a month, because for all I know, I could go and see a tweet now and see that a major update's coming in a couple of weeks, which I wouldn't put past them, to be honest. But that's probably one of mine. And from competitive standpoint, not having played competitive for a few years, well, since IW, I can't really comment. Maybe from a caster's perspective, Quinn, maybe we could give the fact that the cutcaster system needs to work from day one.
Yeah.
That was, no offense to Sledgehammer, but your cutcaster system sucked in the first week. And from us and people that watch streams are thinking, this is shit, because it would spaz everywhere, it would make games unwatchable, and this was the week before Dallas, so maybe from a caster standpoint, that maybe needs to be fixed off the start. And another one, from a competitive standpoint, I can't really think. From a competitive standpoint, maybe
more EU events. Like, just
there you go. More EU events, yeah.
EU events.
I mean, I'll take an ESWC back. Why? The ESWC was fine. Why did they get rid of it? I'd love to know why. Maybe we can discuss that in a further episode later on down the line. But yeah, an extra EU event, more or less meta changes heading down the line, because you see a player 1 week who use an FG, the next week he's using an STG. It's difficult for us to keep up, and it's difficult for teams as well. I know you too, Kaz and Detain, that having players, albeit you might have solidified roles, but changing weapons every now and again, it can be a bit annoying. So that brings me on to Detain. Your views yourself, mate. What do you think needs to be the 3 things that need to happen to make Black Ops 4 good from a competitive standpoint?
Mainly, a player's likeliness of getting on a team shouldn't be determined by a number on their GB profile. Scrap the pro points, have it all land based. Secondly, the game has to play out well. I don't care if it's advanced movement or boots, as long as it's smooth and people enjoy playing it. And lastly, I don't know, some colourful maps. Because these like dull maps that are just boring and colourless are a bit.
I understand. I mean, like your maps like probably. I get what you're saying in terms of they're a bit dull. I mean,
like you'd be surprised. Like a few people I spoke to have actually said they want like. It's such like a specific thing to want, but like I've seen a few people say like the color of maps actually like gets to them.
I can understand it.
It sounds weird, but like that's
Yeah, I can understand it. I mean, like maps like London Docks, it's a fun map to play, but it's dreary as fuck to look at. It's just dark walls. It's a dull sky. It's piss and rain. It's those kind of maps that, albeit they're cool to look at, I mean, they're not
typical.
Well, you're alright when you get to my age and your eyesight's going, because all you can see is colours, you know what I mean? And
yeah, and it can be annoying as well, because players can actually sit in some of those dark corners, and that's where we see a lot of ninja diffusers come in as well, sitting in those little dark
Lunatic
corners.
spends a lot of while sitting in those dark corners. He's in the chat, like.
So, have everything land-based, more colourful maps. And what was your third one to do?
Just have the game run smoothly.
Have the game
Whether
run
it's advanced
smoothly.
movement or boots, just have
Okay.
it working.
And Quinn, before we move on to Newts, what are your three? From respect, they'll probably be quite. They might be similar to mine. I don't know, but what would your three be, mate?
Yeah, like I said, just have more EU events.
More EU events.
Yeah. There's like all of the things that I've thought of have already been said, like just scrapping the pro point system,
Mhm.
making it all land based.
Mhm.
Just actually, there is one thing: adding
Okay.
more,
I
having
what you're gonna
more
say.
like having more of a choice for the rotation and competitive, like having more map choices,
Like vetoes. You know about.
I mean, yeah.
or just like
Mm.
just having like not necessarily have like in this game you've got limited choices for maps, like maybe have more of a variety,
Yeah.
like instead of having 3 or 4 maps for
I know what you
Hardpoint,
mean.
2 or 3 maps for S&D, have
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 for Hardpoint.
I know what you mean, because we had 2 series in the EEG where it was back-to-back. As far as I know, back-to-back 3-0s. Maybe one was a 3-1, but they were London Docks, London Docks, London Docks. London Docks,
Yeah.
London Docks, London Docks. So it's... Maybe it's teams having to get their best map. Teams maybe don't have as many best maps anymore. They maybe have 1 or 2 that they're pretty good at. There's not many more with the 3 and 4. But we did come into this game, remember, with 4 CTFs, 5 hardpoints, and I believe 5 searches with Jib.
Yeah.
So there was quite a variety, and of course they axed San Marie, they axed Jib, and now I should say Gibraltar. I should say that's just me the way I call it. But yeah, they had those maps, they axed them, and now we've got Valkyrie. So they're learning, but yeah, I agree with those 3 in probably one way or another. And to finish it off, Newts, you get the advantageous position. So
I think that they're not playing this properly, right? Considering they're insisting it's over 18, we need to use this to our potential. So what we need is more events, but at them we need male and female strippers walking around in between the bits. Right? We need shots in between rounds, and we need like a boxing
it is over
ring
18.
there, or an arm wrestling table. Which is it? Look, if you're going to insist it's
yeah.
over 18, let's use it. And then like have a boxing ring or an arm wrestling table. So if anyone like shit talks each other while they're playing and that, and they want to get a bit leery, it shouldn't be unencouraged. It should be encouraged. We'll get it in there. We'll have a little betting thing going, and we'll have it out. You know what I mean? And I bet that makes COD so much more interesting to be around. And everyone will want to go and everything.
Yeah.
Like, I told you they need
Yeah.
to get in touch with me when they want ideas.
oh my god. This is why I've loved
Love
having you on, mates. This is why I've loved having you on. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the over 18 is the age limit, so technically you could have everything under the sun that over 18s are allowed, which is...
Girls and lads, you know what I mean? I ain't one way or the other. You can shag whatever you want, you know what I mean?
It is 2018.
Man, so when it's round 2, you know what I mean? They're on stage, round 2. Woohoo! You know what I mean? I just think it'd help, you know what I mean?
Funny thing is, actually, is
I agree.
a part of my brain actually agrees with you.
I'll be running land events next year. New team sports.
Sad thing is, I can't go till next year, and that's the sad thing.
That's all right. I'm not really going to check IDs at the door anyway. It'd be like one of those dodgy nightclubs.
Yeah, true. But with that final question, that's it, guys. In the stream, we appreciate you tuning in. Of course, you 3, Keza, appreciate you being on, mate. Newts, Detain, of course, stepping in for Joey. Much love for all 3 of you guys jumping in. We appreciate getting your guys' course. This is for you guys to get to know these 3 a lot better. You know them as their PSNs, you know them as their ats, but you don't maybe know them as good people. You know me and Quinn from the past, but you don't maybe know the inside view of what it gets to be a competitive player, or Newts quite deeply explained, which I'm quite glad he did, what it's like from his perspective as an org owner, as a man who's a fan of Call of Duty as well. As we saw, you're very passionate about the 8 scene as well, Newts. So it's been good having all you 3 on the split of the 2 players and the 1 org. It's been really good. It's really good having you guys on. I appreciate you coming.
Cheers.
Thanks for having us, mate.
It's been no problem. And guys, thank you for submitting all your questions in as well to us. And guys, that'll be it. We don't know if we'll be here next week, but we might. Quinn, you're not here next week, so we're tempted to see whether, if I'm available, I'm not even sure if I am. I'll have to double check that, or else we'll be back the week after that. So guys, that has been it. 2 episodes down. A successful second one. Much appreciated, like again, to all the guys tuning in. Of course, Quinn, much appreciated for you being here as well, my friend. And guys, that'll be it from us over here at the Esports Channel. Thank you for again providing, I think it was, I just checked, 50 plus people again for episode 2. Over 100 plus people across both episodes. It's been a good start to the season. We've had some amazing guests so far. But guys, that'll be it from up right now. Me and Quinn, we've got an EG game to go cast.
I think it's actually already started.
Has it?
Yeah.
Has it?
fuck me, my
This
pension's
idea
already
was
started. This has been going on that long.
How long have you actually been going on?
I don't know.
Quite a while.
An hour.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been.
A good bit. But
Right, look, I'm going to have to go because I'm pissing myself.
Yeah.
that's all good. Guys,
Elizabeth.
have a great rest of your evening. You guys as well,
Bye.
guys in the stream. Enjoy the rest of your week, and of course, enjoy the rest of your week. And be safe, and have a great rest of
Can't
your evening.
leave.